All right, let us do a vocal video. I am actually going to put Patsy Rodenberg, The Need for Words, down for this week, just not feeling it, and do a different video. This one is, this is me going through Drrn McStay's video, How to Do Character Voices Properly Part 2. This is no substitution for just going to Drrn McStay's YouTube channel and watching his video. This is just me working through his exercises. I find if I film myself doing it, then I actually do it and I actually internalize it. And hey, perhaps I could even watch myself back, which could happen. It could. So yes, he opens this video saying, "Oh, you're somebody who wants to get into doing voice work or reading audiobooks." It's like, no, I have no desire of doing this professionally. It's just I read a book aloud to somebody at work, for the group home I work at. This person, I read to them each night before they go to bed. And I obviously do a lot of reading out loud on this channel. So I just figure, okay, this is a good video for me to learn more about doing voices and thinking about how to actually make that a real part of myself versus I am just reading the words out loud. So, number one he's got 7 things as far as I can count. I think his counting was off, of how you can, do character voices properly. And I think for the purposes of this, I am going to have I said old man. I'm going to go old Han Solo. Old Han Solo. I'm going to have a vampy young woman. Going to have a young child. Young boy. I am going to have snooty Brit, though that really is going into snooty Brit and hunchback Igor, basically. Hunchback Igor. So Igor. Those are going to be the various characters I'm going to think about for this. So his steps, his thoughts, these are things you should think about when you're doing character voices. Number 1, recognize who they are. Get an idea of, what are they, how old are they? How young are they? I've got old Han Solo. I've got snooty Brit, who's probably, we'll say, middle age. I've got a young boy who is 8 or 9. I have got a vampy young woman who's like 21. I've got hunchback Igor, who is 44. 44, not 43 or 45, 44. So that kind of a question, like, how are they, basically, how are they built? This is the thing of, we get into this later, but just, get an actual kind of visual picture of who this person is. Number 2 is, what is the breath, his idea of breath gives life, the breathing habits of the character. So old Han Solo, he's kind of old and he's talking and he's kind of, his voice is kind of more like this. He's got, he's not super, relaxed, dude. He's like, no, I'm kind of more like this. I'm kind of grumpy and it's a little tight into the chest. Whereas, the vampy young woman, she's very limber and stuff like that. And the young guy, the young kid, he's like this. There's a lot of breath. He's kind of hyper. There's a snooty Brit who is far more, is up in his kind of nasal passages. Yes, very kind of like this. Igor, he's kind of, I'm doing the movement, but he's kind of like this, master. He's kind of got that kind of breath in him. Yes, master. Yes, master. I feel. And I'm doing the voice. I'm already doing words, which I'm not supposed to be doing. So how do they move? So yes, it's like Han Solo. It's like he's got a lot of miles on him. He's definitely. Oh, Jesus Christ, my back is hurting me. Oh yeah, I'm stiff. I can't. I think this is a self portrait now. It's like I'm kind of stiff. Whereas, hey, I'm I'm the young vamp, and I'm I'm very limber. I'm very limber. To over sexualize this poor young woman, but she's very limber, very sensual in her movements and stuff like that. Whereas the young boy, he can kind of dart all over the place. He's probably really needs to be on some AHD thing. He looks like he maybe needs to pee. Who knows? So it's like, oh God, God damn it. The snooty Brit is far more drawn up. Yes, looking down his nose at everyone. Yes, yes, I can see that. He's not, he has a certain elegance to him, and at least what he thinks is elegance to him, which he kind of throws his chest back, his chest forward like this. Yes, 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 very much so, very much so. Yeah, mm, 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 mm. Yes, yes, this, and it's like, oh, yes, he's like this. Oh, yes, yes, master. Oh, yes, yes, master. I can do that. Oh, there's a little tremble there. Oh, yes, yes, master. I can do that. Yes, yes. So that kind of thing. Um, Number 4 is find that zone in the tone, which is by humming. So old Han Solo's like, it's kind of low down here. Well, God damn it, I'm too old for this. Whereas, the vampy young woman's like, probably out of my tone, but where the young boy's, oh boy, it's not a bit, yes, and Hunchback Igor, yes, master. Kind of, it's interesting. The physicality does definitely makes you to do thing. On the tone is like, what's grumpy old Han Solo is like, whereas the vampy young woman is like, that kind of a sigh. The young boy is, a snotty bit, and the hunchback Igor is like, yes, master. Definitely going yes, master everywhere. And then you do it as the words, and he's got stuff for the tongue, for the lips, and for the, I can't remember what that was for, but I'll figure it out. So the words, these are words to say in that character's voice. So the dull lamp from the candle burns slowly in the lamp. So this grumpy old Han Solo, it's like, the dull lamp from the candle burns slowly in the lamp. Or the vampy young woman, the dull lamp from the candle burns slowly in the lamp. And the young boy, the dull lamp from the candle, it burned slowly in the lamp. And the snotty bit, the dull lamp, the dull lamp from the candle burns slowly in the lamp. Whereas Igor is like, the dull lamp from the candle burns slowly in the lamp, in the lamp. I don't know if I particularly got that. So and then we've got lips, which is just basic. Base is apparently the presentation was appealing for support. Very much lips. Apparently the presentation was appealing for the support. So apparently the presentation was appealing. Apparently the presentation, oh, my back. Apparently the presentation was appealing for the support. And the vampy young woman, apparently the presentation was appealing for the support. And the young boy, apparently the presentation was appealing for the support. Oh yeah, apparently the young boy I'm voicing has definitely got a P. The snotty Brit, apparently the presentation was appealing for the support. Apparently this presentation was appealing for the support. And Hunchback Igor,
Apparently, yes, miss. Apparently, the presentation was appealing for the support.
don't know if I particularly mastered any of these guys. And then the last one, consonants. This is it. The traditional violation of professional conventions is undoubtedly intentional. So, the traditional violations of professional conventions is undoubtedly intentional. The traditional violations of professional conventions is undoubtedly intentional. And the young boy, the traditional violations of professional conventions is undoubtedly intentional. And the snotty Brit, this one I feel is right up my alley. The traditional violations of professional conventions is undoubtedly intentional. Yeah, and then Hunchback Igor.
The traditional violations of professional conventions is undoubtedly intentional, Master. Yes, Master, yes. Yes, traditional violations of the professional conventions is undoubtedly intentional.
So yeah, that is kind of all the stuff that I don't think I've done a very good job of, but I feel like I've gotten a hint of what's going on with giving these voices kind of a physicality, a breath, finding that zone and tone, the hum and the sigh. This is all stuff that I would have to do on the fly as I'm voicing characters for this, for when I'm reading out books, little dialogue snippets. But it's useful stuff, and it's also useful stuff to
figuring out how to work on my presentations. Maybe I'll figure out how to do something that would be really useful.
Very, very useful. Very useful to me. Yes, I think so. Yes, maybe to me as well. You never know. It's funny. I can go from the snooty Brit thrusting his chest out to, oh, yes, the vampish kind of, probably incredibly creepy of me doing that. Probably shouldn't do that in public. Vamp character, but that kind of idea of like how you're holding your body, and suddenly the hips are swaying a lot. Are swaying a lot more. Whereas old Han Solo is just gonna kind of stand there and just be deep in his voice, be deep in his chest, probably. Oh, good lord, too old for this crap. Where's Chewbacca? I don't think I'm doing a particularly good Harrison Ford, but what the hell. So the next thing to do with that is to record and listen back to yourself doing it. So you're getting a more outside picture of how is that going? How is it actually going? It's like, yes, you hear something in your head, but how does it show up on screen, and is it what you want to do? And number 7 is improvise. Just play around with the voice and explore. When you have a moment, when you're you're driving along, or just that is just like,
I will use a voice now, and we'll see. Oh, it's a darty voice. Oh, I'm kind of bouncing all over the place. I'm up on my toes here. I've got antenna, I think. Oh yes, and they're kind of waving around. That's a kind of a bizarre, but yeah, that's how you kind of work stuff. And I'm humming up here. I'm in my nose. That's kind of an interesting idea.
That idea, and then the idea is you continue playing, you build up your kind of library of voices, and then you can go back to the actual script, and you've got all this kind of work done so that you can then actually follow the script and use those words, use what you've found physically to project those words with that particular personality, that physicality behind it. He has a first video, which I watched a long while ago, which is how to create 100 distinctly different voices which I will probably go back to because he talks about how little variations of, there's like, there is so many different little slides, levers that you can kind of adjust up or down to create different voices. And you've got all these up here, but you just like, oh, I'll shift that one down, and suddenly there's another voice, and then like, oh, I'll put this one back up, and I'll put this one here, and suddenly I've got another voice, and I can, I'm kind of going like this now, and I got a ha 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 ha. Now I'm doing French too, so there's all that. I am not going to be an actor, as you can probably tell, but I'm working at my this instrument that we all have, and that not many people pay attention to, that not many people invest time in trying to develop, just for my own amusement. I love standing on the camera and standing in front of this camera and yakking, so why not try and make it a little bit more, why not develop that as I go along in life, because I can just carry this along with me wherever, regardless of the super fancy camera equipment I have, which is my phone and a bunch of lights turned on. All right. That has been a local video for this week. Next week, I will go back. I will be a good boy, and I will go back to Patsy Ruddenberg and the need for words, and we'll work on that. But it was nice to kind of take a break and do this week. All right. I've been Jay. More videos later.